exhausted. If we hadn't happened to see the Jade Chamber flying over just as we came out of the Golden House, we really wouldn't have known which way to go. Did we make it in time? Is the Overlord of the Vortex still in the sea? It hasn't destroyed Leela yet, has it?
What are you doing here?
Huh? Hold on. It's the Adepti. What are you doing on the Jade Chamber? Paimon thought you were arguing with the Chising. Is the fighting over?
Faced with a calamity of such magnitude, we have agreed to put our differences aside for now and unite against this common enemy.
Oh, Paimon gets it. So how do you plan to defend Leela? Just seeing this Overlord of the Vortex guy puts a pit in Paimon's tummy.
It's not just you. We've got new Millilith recruits who can't even stand at attention without shaking. The force of an ancient god's presence seems to... Which is why we must stop that monster before it gets any closer to Liyue Harbor.
So the Archon War was fought 2,000 years ago against enemies like that thing? Now that's scary. So will the power of the Chising, Millilith, and Adepti gathered here be enough to stop that god?
We've already discussed this together, and our conclusion is... not necessarily.
What? But all of you were supposed to be the guardians of Lilith!
One certainly could.
Huh?
The Chising did once research the matter of the Guizhong Ballista when it piqued their fancy. And as fate would have it, one who did craft the Guizhong Ballista with... For what could you mortals ever learn of Adepti mechanisms? Yet, it would take one, but...
I suppose this is one blessing from the Adepti that we should be thankful for. So be it. We shall use the upgraded Guizhong Ballista to fight off that god. All the Adepti here can... We haven't a moment to spare. Our battle... Yep.
The three Adepti are manning the Guizhong Ballista. Do not let the Fatui disturb... their work.
All able Millilith, with me!
Let's go up too!
The Adepti have not faced a god in several millennia. Let one see what you're made of then. What strength remains within you, one wishes to witness.
Windblade! Nova!
No slacking off!
Dodge this!
Go on! Windblade!
This is
is Osial's divine power. I am very familiar. Be careful not to get hit.
The Fatui! Their attacks are unrelenting!
How dare you. Snezhnai's diplomats will answer for this afterward. Every last one.
No slacking off!
Dodge this!
The ancient god's attacking again! There are so many between you and you!
Were you about to say we can't hold them, children? Don't lose heart. Here, take this.
This is gentle energy. That light from your body, it's like a tiny jillion cars. Wow, it's not a pink shockwave. This gray is really strong.
Can't run!
Windblade.
Not breaking a sweat!
This one will be frozen in time.
It isn't time for a break yet!
Windblade.
My work! Finished!
With the blood of the Chilean, I guard you against evil. Cast your fear of injury by the wayside and fight with all your might. I too did this during the Archon War. So this is what Ganyu's like in a fight.
My name means swiftness. Take my power and run as I do.
We're going too fast.
You are strong in body and spirit. Then perhaps you can withstand 3 forms of adeptal energy at once.
This will hurt a little. Please bear with us.
Once you've adapted, try to use that in battle.
Frost! My duty! It isn't time for a break yet! My work!
Freeze!
Finished!
Look, exercise caution. I fear that the god's power has reached its peak.
In other words, if we hold here, there's nothing worse to come, right?
This isn't good. I guess this is it.
Be gone. Blink.
No slacking off!
Blink.
Dodge this!
Windblade.
Get careless.
The Fatui's numbers are thinning!
Fight on, comrades! Once we finish this lot off, the Adepti will be able to deal with the god in peace.
This is
The interlopers are no more. Now we may commit ourselves fully.
It's working! We just need to keep this up!
Be careful now.
The Guizhong Ballista is destroyed. Without its covering fire, retaliation shall be difficult.
But the Jade Chamber is our last line of defense. We can't give another inch, no matter what.
I have another idea.
What do you mean, Lady Ningguang?
I'll sacrifice the Jade Chamber.
What is the meaning of this?
I understand.
Traveler, lend me a hand. Farewell, old friend. Goodbye for now. Let us meet again in the future.
Is it finally over?
The ominous aura of that monster has indeed begun to fade. The effects of the Sigil of Permission last but a short time. It will be some time before the Overlord of the Vortex can make any waves again.
We are indebted to you for your assistance. If the Adepti hadn't happened to be here, the future of Liyue Harbor would surely have been in great jeopardy.
Save your flattery. We didn't just happen to be here.
Come now. There's no need for such harsh words, Cloud Retainer. I've heard that when Ningguang began learning to do business, she had already started setting aside part of her then limited income in preparation for building. At first, it was only the size of a small room, But with continued expansion, it has become the palace that lies before you now. It is a testament to Ningguang's entire life, both as a businesswoman. Seeing the Jade Chamber destroyed in the defense of Liyue means much to her. To me, such cooperation and sacrifice...
Well, I was really hoping you would say that such sacrifice could at least be... Thank you all for hearing me out. We know very well why the Adepti came here today. But please forgive...
Oh?
3,700 years. According to our records, even to this very day, Liyue and its lands have stood the test of time, immovable as stone, just as it was. But that does not mean that the Liyue of today is the same city as it was. Do not merely cast your protective gaze upon the land. Instead, focus your...
Are you questioning our means of protecting Liyue?
I mean no offense. I simply hope that our Adepti forebears would see Liyue in a new light.
Forebearers, you say? One doubts you would be fit to be part of such a
This morning, Rex Lapis appeared to...
What?
In the dream, I yearned to tell him that we Qixing, though mortal, are equally bound to the contract. Each passing generation of the Qi... I also thought to tell him how the past generations of Qixing had strove under his rule to survive in our mortal world, establishing a network of contracts which has since come to be known as trade. But I dared not speak. I could only gaze at him in silence until the moment I awoke.
Oh,
Ningguang. Yet another perspective. What are you trying to say, Outlander?
That's something that happened in Mondstadt. It's a story about the Four Winds and the people of the Animal Archon. The Animal Archon sought to quell the strife between the two sides, because he believed that such conflict would only scar the hearts of both, and that nothing good would come of it.
Each of the 7 nations has its own scars from...
Though your point is the very height of simplicity. As Adepti, we've become a laughingstock, to be chastised thus by an outlander who...
All right, all right. Didn't Ningguang suggest that we should focus on the city and each of its citizens? I know I already have.
I apologize for appearing in full armor. I am afraid I cannot show the...
And who are you?
I am Feng Yan, a sergeant of the Millelith. I have come to extend my thanks. I thought this battle would perhaps be my last. But thanks to the aid of the Adepti, although I am a mere mortal soldier, I promise to hold the line and never betray the grace given to us by the...
Huh? Why does everyone look so down?
Weren't you frightened, dear?
I wasn't afraid. All the strong Millelith guards were there, and those powerful heroes with their visions were there. When danger is near, everyone always protects me. And the rest of the time, they make fun toys and tasty snacks. Thanks for protecting Liyue Harbor. Please.
Unfortunately, we wouldn't be able...
Huh?
Because we are Adepti.
Oh, okay. Aww.
You see, this is what Liyue is like today. The country of contracts is grateful to the Adepti for their protection. But it is no longer necessary for the city to rely on... Although their blood is weak, there is still The time of contracts between gods and Liyue has long since passed. Now is the time of contracts between Liyue and its people.
Seeing the port around us now, it is hard not to feel a bit out of place. Wouldn't you say so, Cloud Retainer?
Your line of inquiry is askew. One did not spearhead this expedition.
Seems like the Adepti have had a change of heart.
Let us return now.
Eager to leave, conqueror of demons.
Yes, one understands what the Conqueror of Demons means. The city of... One fears that by the time one finally grasps the new contracts of Liyue. Fair enough.
Since we Adepti have consensus, then one shall persist no further. But how will we ensure that the Liyue Chising will not simply exploit their power once we depart? In my view, that is still a thing to be guarded against.
All right, Mooncarver, you needn't worry. It seems to me that this right of supervision is best left to the people of Liyue.
Looks like the conflict between humans and Adepti was avoided. Oh, right! It's nice that we've got peace and all, but we're forgetting one thing. Child wanted to unleash the god so he could lure Rex Lapis out. But we were able to handle the Overlord of the Vortex on our own, so Rex Lapis never showed up. Oh, and speaking of that, don't we still need to get to the bottom of that Archon? Hyman doesn't get it. But isn't the strongest lead we have the Adepti-less rite of parting that we're organizing? No idea where Zhongli's gone. Let's ask for him at Wangshen Funeral Parlor. Long sword in hand.
Good job doing.
Wow.
Is there anything I can do for you two? I'm afraid that Wangshen Funeral Parlor isn't in the best state.
We've come to see Zhongli. Could you please tell...
Unfortunately, Zhongli isn't here at the moment. It seems he went to Northland Bank.
Doesn't the Northland Bank belong to the Fatui? Last time we saw Zhongli was before we went to the Golden. Do you think he doesn't know about the attack on Liyue? Visiting the Fatui at a time like this could... We had better go and make sure that everything is okay.
You call this cooperation between Harbingers. Cooperation involves communication, you know.
Don't take it to heart, child. Besides, aren't you happy that you got to skip the formalities and bring chaos to the land? I'm sure you must have enjoyed that. Oh, it seems that some of—
Hey, it's Zhongli and Child. And... you?
It's you two. I believe we've met once before. In the City of Bards, was it? I'm glad you still remember me. Ah, right. I imagine that it must have been rather hard to forget watching helplessly as something precious was snatched away from your friend.
No, don't let her get to you. You've yet to gather the powers of all 7 elements. And our last battle at the Golden House was almost more than you could handle. So it might be best to keep things peaceful this time, seeing that 2 of the Harbingers are here.
Well, if it isn't you two. This is our first time seeing each other since Liyue was nearly wiped off the map.
Paimon knew that we should never have trusted a Fatui Harb.
Oh, now don't say that. Sure, I may have misled you, but I never had anything against you personally. Besides, I thought we were getting along quite well together, didn't you? Except for that little tussle we had at the end. Nothing personal. We just have different views, that's all. Of course, you may very well hold this against me, but the real deceivers here are Senora and Zhongli. Curse them for leading me on. So actually, I think...
Stop wasting time, child. There'll be plenty of time to chat once I'm through here. You remember the agreement, Morax. Now, if you would be so kind. The Gnosis, please.
What in the world are you talking about?
The contract is fulfilled. That which thou seeketh.
How sanctimonious.
What? So you're the Lord of Chiao? No, wait! That's an exciting twist and all, but why give the Gnosis to the...
I do not give it for free. I give it as agreed upon in the contract. For it is a matter solely between the Tsaritsa and I.
Yeah, you don't think you went a little bit too far with that whole fake death thing? Everyone was preparing the ceremony for you and splat! This big...
Gathering all the forces that had been bubbling behind the scenes, and then stirring them together in a pot that was bound to boil over. That's what he wanted to see, am I right?
Wait, what?
Perhaps it's best that as you know, I've dwelt upon this world for more than 6,000 years. I witnessed even boulders that can withstand whirlpools will erode with the passing of time. I kept convincing myself until one drizzly day. As I was strolling along the harbor, I heard a merchant tell one. I stood motionless among the crowds, asking myself,
Oh, Zhongli.
But as I began to consider relinquishing my divine role, I soon discovered that many reasons still remained. Was Liyue, the city I had dwelt in for so long, already prepared to enter its next age? I decided, so I feigned my own death, and gathered the cast of Child, the Adepti, and the Liyue Qixing to play their roles together on the stage that was Liyue. Indeed I was. The Gnosis, which I had kept for so many years, suddenly seemed to have lost its meaning. That's right. Which is why I continued to safeguard the Gnosis.
So you mean that if the chaos ever reached the point of no return, you would simply appear and use your divine powers to bring Liyue back under control?
Of course, and it would have been all too easy for him too. Just as a child quickly matures after losing their parents, So has Liu matured when faced with the death of its deity.
I was pleasantly surprised with the finale of the show that you all put on. The Adepti deserve the greatest applause, considering their years of seclusion. They hardly recognized the city, yet faced with such a crisis, they exerted the greatest amount of restraint. And hats off to the emissary dispatched by the Cryo-Archon to fulfill our contract, Signora. She managed to keep everything she knew in strict confidence, far from the eavesdropping ears of her colleague child, just as I had requested. All the while, I carried on as Zhongli, and fulfilled the traditions of Liu in this mortal form. These things were all a part of my script. The only unforeseen plot twist was the conduct of the Liu Qixing. I had expected them to do no more than the Adepti, to come to the defense of Liu. They seized the opportunity to supplant Liu as divine protectors, and used the subsequent power vacuum left by my death to quickly gain complete
Huh? That doesn't...
On the contrary, I think it is excellent. I had always feared that it was too soon for them to take over from me. And it was also that which I longed for the most.
Hey, what about me? Doesn't anyone feel the least bit of remorse for deceiving me? You've practically kept me in the dark.
I think that thanks would be more appropriate. You certainly played no small part in all of this, wreaking havoc and turning the city upside down. The Lord of Geo ought to thank you for your performance, if anything. If you hadn't created the pressure of a battle between mortals, Adepti, and a god, the lump of—
Huh? Just whose side are you on, mocking me like that? Are you itching for a fight? Be that as it may, you've come out of this as the hero of Liyue. I, on the other hand, will be forever prescribed as a
Well then, with the Gnosis in my possession, I have no use for such idle chatter. We should return to Zappolyarny Palace and seek an audience with her
Fine. I'll meet you there later. I'm not—
Do as you wish.
Now then, is there anything else you wish to ask me?
Right! As Zhongli always told us, a good trade is a fair trade. Paimon has no idea what could be a good trade for a no—
Realistically speaking.
Huh?
However, I am the god of contracts. For thousands of years, I have made countless contracts. If the deal was of no benefit, then I certainly would not be inclined to agree. My agreement with the Cryo-Archon will be the last of my contracts as the Geo-Archon. As for the bargaining chip that the Tsaritsa used to balance the uncover that answer for yourself in your future journeys.
Today's the day of the rite of parting. Although the star of the show is fake, we've spent so much time trying to organize it, it would be a real shame not to go there now.
Well, since we're going through with this rite of parting, I guess it...
So Rex Lapis is really...
Oh, come on. Do you think that the assassin could have been a normal person? You know what I think. I don't think any of... There's only one real possibility in my mind. I've heard that the assassin was that Fatui fellow.
The Fatui? They certainly are very...
Shh! Lower your voice. If the Fatui catch you in their sights...
You know that god from the ocean couldn't have just shown up out of nowhere. I mean, it's been 2,000 years since...
Yes, and to think that this happened right on the heels of...
Say, do you think the person who assassinated our lord and released that evil...
Now that you mention it, that's very... I mean, it all fits together. That person must have colluded with the evil god to harm Rex Lapis. Still, what sort of supernatural prowess must this person possess to...
forget it. Guessing's no use to us. Look, the Millilith over there looks like he's about to make an announcement. Let's hear what the Ministry of Civil Affairs has to say first.
Hear ye all! The Qixing's words. Though a dragon soars ageless as the mountains, it too must gods and adepti live glorious lives. But both light and shadow have their season. Rumors and hearsay abound on the streets that having been thwarted in his trial, Rex Lapis's soul has recouped the celestial heights. He beseeches the people of Liyue, nor are they to believe street-born rumors or indulge in baseless speculation.
Paimon needs a translation on what the Qixing's announcement said. So that's how there's... Something feels off. Why would they suddenly give up looking for the murderer? Could the Qixing already have known that Rex Lapis wasn't dead? But Zhongli said that neither they Did Zhongli tell them in secret after his note? Exactly, right? Ooh, seems... Look, it's Ningguang and Keqing.
As said previously, Rex Lapis's soul returned.
3,700 years of contracts.
We, the people of Liyue, were indeed prosperous, but blind.
The long, unending dream of our Archon walking among us.
Now that we have awoken from our dream, we must... Will you stand with us as we re-establish our contracts?
So concludes the words of Her Eminence the Does Her Eminence the Yuheng have anything to add?
Huh? Is she looking this way?
Traveler.
Yikes! She really is looking...
Is that the traveler who they say defeated the ancient god?
So young. The Liyue Qixing always repay their debts. And as you have heard, name your price.
Whoa.
Well, Could you help me put up some missing person posters? Why, you... Were you just trying... If you were looking for someone...
The cleanup of the premises, managing the crowds as they exit, making an account of the rite?
Roping you in was possibly the most masterful move we could have made.
And here you are
Why would I not? Right. If the two of you can spare the time.
Ha! That sounds like big talk, Zhongli. Paimon might have believed you if you were treating us to some third-round knockout, but you'd have to pay out your nose just to stand inside Xinyue kiosk. Are you sure you can afford it?
You're right. I do lack the Mora.
But why would Morax lack Mora?
As the Rex Lapis Morax, I can easily create Mora. But since I have chosen to walk this earth as the mortal Zhongli, when I was journeying with you, though I still had the Gnosis in hand, I knew that I must soon retire from my role as an Arch.
Oh, no wonder! Paimon gets it now. You didn't look at the price tag, but since you weren't used to not being able to just make more Mora as and when you wanted...
Well, we were only spending Fatui money. In the City of Commerce, we do not merely exchange money or goods. We also... The Archon Morax could never experience life as the true I will treasure the memories that I made as Zhongli. That is true. But there is no...
Paimon thinks that we should make a move and continue our search for...
I fear that continuing your journey may be difficult. The nation that neighbors Liyue by sea, Yes, the nation has been the Electro-Archon Ball. And just as the people of Liyue preferred to call me Rex Lapis, she too goes by another name among locals in Inazuma.
Paimon thinks we've heard that one before.
That is the case. And since Raiden is also the Shogun of the Inazuma Bakufu, people call her the Raiden Shogun.
That said, though people at the wharf were saying that the situation in Inazuma is very tense, Paimon doesn't remember... Zhongli, since you're Rex Lapis, shouldn't you know something about what's happening there? Just how did Inazuma become a closed nation?
It's because of visions.
Visions?
When faced with circumstances beyond their control, humans often bemoan. But if a person shows true strength of will at a desperate and fateful moment in their life, this is what visions are. Magical foci.
That's how people in Teyvat see it.
But starting from last year, the Raiden Shogun began promulgating the
Vision Hunt Decree?
Yes. It was an order to seize all visions within Inazuma's borders, and to inlay them upon the hands of a statue of the Thousand-Armed.
They want to seize visions. But why? Aren't visions blessings for...
I should think that in the Raiden Shogun's eyes, it is precisely because they...
Whoa!
The Animo Archon is the god of freedom, and the Geo Archon is the god of contracts. For her part, the Raiden Shogun is the god of eternity. It seems as though she has finally decided to... The fact that even I, the oldest of the 7, have now passed away, will only strengthen her resolve to pursue eternity. Knowing her, she must have again quoted that adage she is most fond of when proclaiming that decree to her people. 7 ideals for 7 gods, and of thee... All right then. Was there anything else you wish to know? The time of the Adepti has long passed. If even the Liyue... Kuching is absolutely... Now, though I did laud Ningguang's desire for power, believing this to be a good thing, and thought as a... Could the original person who brought up the idea of seizing... All right then. Was there... That was a good one. Failing a That said, the reason why the Qixing were so eager to resolve the incident and stop pursuing the culprit, I hinted as much to the Adepti. How did I accomplish that, you ask? Have you ever heard of this particularly convenient Adepti art known as gifting dreams and visions? All right then. Was there anything else you wish to know? Well then, I suppose you'll have to find a way to get inside this closed nation. Have